on that note, welcome to this episode of Pursuit of Motion. Today we've got Dr. Denton Anthony, and this gentleman has provided a significant amount of insights to me over the last few years. And it's to the point where I looked at the people I'd spoken to and said, how is Dr. Anthony not already on the list? So it's a great pleasure to have you here today.
Well, great. Thanks for having me, Dan. It's my pleasure, actually. I'm very honored. This is my first podcast, so I'm pretty excited about it today.
Likewise. So Dr. Anthony, for those of you who don't know, he's the chair of the marketing department, the chair of the enterprise systems department, also on the hiring committee, and has taught a bunch of classes as well. I'm excited to get into all of those things, but to preface that, how'd you get into academia in the first place? What inspired you to educate?
All right, that's a great question. So one of the things that really inspired me was my father. My father was an academic, and he wasn't a business academic. He was a parasitologist, which is parasitologist, which is the study of parasites.
Huh.
So in the biology, life science area. And when I was young, I had the privilege and the opportunities to travel with my parents, as he did a lot of traveling for conferences and for work. So I saw a lot of the world. I probably saw about 30 different countries before I was 17. And so when I went to school, I took the sciences, but my first love was kind of law, and my undergrad was in law and justice with a minor in political science. After that, I went on, I applied to law school. I was on a wait list at the University of Windsor. And at the time when I was going through school, most MBA programs, you needed a 2-year work experience, just to give you some life experience. I wasn't ready to work. I really wanted more school right after my undergrad. So what I did is I applied for an MBA in the States where I didn't have to wait. So I got into my MBA program right away, instead of waiting to see if I got into law. Did my MBA, and then I started teaching. And I started teaching at a community college first. I was doing that part-time, and I had a little landscaping business that I started at university. So I had the entrepreneurial spirit a little bit in me. After that, I remember I was 27, and I was asked to teach a course at Nipissing University in North Bay. It's pretty exciting, 27, first university course, part-time. And I did it. I did another course for another year, and I thought, this is what I want to do. So I had a sessional appointment there, and then I started working on my PhD because I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Where did you study in the States?
Lake Superior State University, and that's in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
Michigan.
So, So Michigan, and I did my undergrad at Laurentian University in Sudbury, Ontario.
Exciting. So kind of in the same sort of area.
Sort of the same area, yeah. Sort of that northern area of Ontario, yeah.
And so have you ever thought about that, not going to law school? Like, has that ever been a part of your journey that you almost wish you had gone that way, or?
No, because a funny story actually is, I thought, okay, I'll do law, and I thought I practiced law for about 10 years, I thought. I don't know why I said 10 years. I thought, when I was in my 30s, I'd probably be old, right? And then I wanted to teach after that. I had a law professor who taught me law at Laurentian. He was a lawyer, and then he transitioned into university teaching after that. So I kind of wanted to be like him and my dad, right? So I wanted to practice law and then go on and then teach at the university level.
And you did it.
And I did it. And I've had I'm very fortunate to be in the position I am, and I'm grateful for what I do, and I think my job helps keep me kind of young a little bit, interacting with students and things like that. So I'm very fortunate to have the role that I do.
And so what brought you out east?
Okay, that's a great question. So I was at Nipissing. I did a sabbatical replacement. Someone was on sabbatical. Then I did a term position for one term, and then there was no position anymore. So I applied to StFX and I applied to Brandon, Manitoba. So I went out for interviews at both places, and that was in 2001. And it's just so happens to be it that Brandon University and StFX, they were playing each other in the CIS men's basketball final.
Really?
And StFX won, and I have a university roommate, former university roommate at Laurentian, who lives in Fall River. So he was like, "What are you gonna do?" He goes, "I think you want to join the winter den, right?" So it made me come. I came here. It was a 2-year contract. Brandon offered a 3-year contract, but I wanted to be here, and so I came for 2 years, and then it was another 2 years, and then 25 years later. So it's great.
I mean, it's definitely a beautiful place. Having seen Antigonish and Brandon, I get they're very different places.
Yes.
I prefer Antigonish.
Yes, I do too. Yeah, it's beautiful. There's water. When I was in Ontario, I did live on water, so not the ocean, obviously, a lake, but I love water. I love being near water. So
yeah, definitely me as well.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the Turkish heritage for sure.
Yeah.
Being on the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. The basketball has been a through line right from the very beginning. Were you able to work with the basketball team right when you got to StFX?
Yeah, so I started working with the basketball team in my 3rd year, after I was here for 2 years and I knew I was kind of staying. I connected with Coach K. I connected with him actually because of a player that I coached in Ontario, a high school player that wanted to come out here. Actually, he really was looking at the States. He had a couple visits to the US. He was a pretty good player, and he ended up coming here. So we connected that way, and to today, Coach K and I are very, very close still. Again, he's been like a mentor to me, and I've been with the basketball team now for 21 years. So even though he's retired, I've stayed on. So yeah.
So mentorship, that's a great through line to the next part, in which I want to ask about how you motivate your team. How do the things you've learned as a marketer particularly impact your approach to coaching?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I always say that coaching is teaching, because that's what it really is, right? And I think at this level, at this university level, whether it's teaching or instruction and coaching, there has to be some self-motivation too, right? You can't make somebody want to improve, right? I mean, you have practice every day, you have those 2 hours every day, but then part of it is they have to put in that extra work, right? They have to do that extra work, whether it's, in the summer, or whether it's when you're not practicing, whether they need more conditioning or they're working on certain aspects of their game, right? But motivation comes from within. I always say that, you have to be sort of self-motivated. But there are techniques that we use as coaches to motivate players, right? I think one of the biggest things that drives self-motivation is the bench, right? So I think everyone wants to play, especially at this level, right? And sometimes that's motivation enough.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. You don't know what you have till you've lost it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. So has basketball been something you've been passionate about your whole life? Did you grow up watching and playing as well?
Yeah. Basketball has been a part of my life probably since I was like 8 years old, probably, right? So it's something that, I played, I've coached at different levels. I've coached provincially, I've coached provincial teams here, I've coached in the Canada Games. It's something that is really a part of me, and something that I think really shapes me a little bit too as a person. So I've had the privilege, and I think I'm very lucky to be passionate about something that, again, really aligns with what I want to do. And I think even though with my work and career commitments, the university has been very supportive of what I do with basketball athletes and with some of those players. There's some of those players who, they're the first ones in their families to attend a university. Some of them are the first ones to finish high school in their families. right? So, you know, sometimes part of my role too is trying to keep them on track academically a little bit, right? And showing them the importance of that degree when they are finished, because that is critical. That is critical for anybody, right? You spend a lot of your formative years at university, you want to be able to leave with something. So
Something more than a story.
more than a story, exactly. Something to add to your story.
Yeah, very true. And I find stories to be very valuable. I'm sure you've got plenty from coaching and all the basketball days. What's one of your favorite stories?
Oh, my favorite story. Oh my gosh, there's so many stories. I think one of my favorite. Okay, so I'm gonna. Okay, so one of my favorite university experiences, and there's a lot of them, but so it's hard to really pick one. But I'll just maybe share one, and that was our 2023 national silver medal team. That was a really special team. The team was very close. It bonded. It was one of the most amazing games I've ever been a part of. Metro Center, over 10,000 people, a record crowd in that building, and we lost in double overtime. So many people said that's the best university basketball game they've ever seen in this country. And I really believe that to be true. The place was electric. It's really too bad there had to be a loser in that game, but you know, we left everything on the floor, and that was a great experience. Another really great experience I had was in 2022, and that was the Canada Summer Games. And I was assistant coach on that team for Nova Scotia. No one thought we'd even get close to the medal round. Well, we met up in the semifinal with Powerhouse Ontario, and one of the current players on the X team was on the Ontario team, Colette Thomas. He was injured, so he didn't play. He had a lot of NCAA offers, Division I offers, but he decided to come to StFX. And again, you know, we're small, they're big, they're athletic, we're less athletic. It was just an amazing game. We had a chance to win it in regulation, went to overtime, and we ended up losing by 2 in overtime. But again, another fantastic game, a game I would never forget. So those two stick out right away. There was another time in 2005 national semifinal game. We were down 24. Came all the way back and lost by 2. So there's been lots of experiences where we've kind of just, you know, showed that grit, showed that resilience, right? And it's like anything. It's going back to education and teaching. You know, you may be down, you might have maybe not been successful on your first test or your first exam. That doesn't mean the course is over, right? That doesn't mean you can't do well in other areas of the game. You might be down early in the game in the first half or a second half, right? But what happens is you keep persevering, you keep fighting, and you come back. So, yeah.
That's a great story.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
Have you been a part of any championships?
Well, I've been a part of like high school championships as a player. I've been a part of a club championship as a coach, but no university championship. So that's one thing that eludes me a little bit. And no national championships at the U15 or U17 level or U18 level. So again, bronze, which is it's not silver, so you gotta win bronze, right? You win to get a bronze medal, you lose, you get silver, right? So that's what I always say. So no gold medals at those levels. So Yet, exactly. It's not over, right?
No, absolutely not. So moving a little bit back towards academia, I wanted to ask about how you became the chair of not 1 but 2 departments. And also 2 departments that are generally considered to be disconnected. I mean, when I think about marketing and enterprise systems, I understand a lot of it's digital, but also the crossover sort of eludes me. So what does that look like?
Okay, so really, it's one department. So we are one department right now, marketing and enterprise systems. So going to your point, I think there's some synergies with the two areas with marketing, especially how marketing is going with some of the, with digital, with technology, a lot more web-based, everything, like whether it's not just websites, but like media and different forms of media. So we have two distinct streams. We have marketing, and then we have enterprise systems, and the two form one department. So they are very different in some ways, or in a lot of aspects, in terms of things like programming or SAP and certain types of programs like that, where a lot of marketers in my department probably don't fully understand some of those things, myself included, because I'm a marketer by trade. But in terms of enterprise systems, I think it's a really great fit. This last year we hired someone who is sort of in our department that does both, right? That sort of teaches in the marketing area, but also teaches in the information technology, enterprise systems area, which is kind of unique a little bit, but we're very grateful to have him too.
So in the vein of marketing, and we've had marketing conversations before, and they've always been excellent from my end anyways. But say a student were to come to you and say that they're looking to put together a marketing plan, what sort of initial advice would you give to them if they hadn't started yet?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first I'd ask things like, okay, maybe build out some kind of table of contents or guideline, right? What do you want to do? Who do you want to target, right? Where, is it local? Is it national? Is it an international plan? Is it a brick and mortar store? Is it an online store, right? To think through all these different things. Also to look at things like, who are my competitors going to be, right? After you can answer some of those types of questions, then you can maybe start doing a little bit of marketing research, right? So who else competes in that space, right? How are my products and services going to be different than competitor A, B, C, and D, right? How am I going to communicate and promote whatever I'm selling, right? What are some cost-effective ways, right? One of the things I like to tell people when they start any kind of new business is, or new venture, or creating even a marketing plan. Let's say it is a new venture. I would say have enough money for a year to live on, because don't expect to make money right away, right? You might, and if you do, that's a bonus. But if you can float yourself for a year, you're in pretty good shape, and you have a pretty concrete idea. Now, conducting marketing research doesn't always mean you're going to be successful, but there's a greater chance of success by doing that research, by answering those questions, as opposed to not doing any at all.
So do you find that a budget for creating marketing deliverables per se, do you find that a budget elevates beyond quality? Like, do you find that pitch with money behind it is always better than a solid pitch without, or do you think that there's merit to the actual content of the marketing? I don't know why I've lost my whole.
Yeah, no, I think I'm reading your mail.
Yeah.
I think one of the things is it really depends on the idea and on the concept, right? So you might have a really solid plan, and you might not have any money behind that idea or behind that pitch, right? But if you can get people to, one, understand your idea, to believe in your idea, right, then it has a chance to succeed. You could, and the opposite's also true. You might have money behind a pitch, all right, but people don't necessarily believe in that pitch. You've not done your homework, essentially, or you haven't vetted the idea out enough, and you probably won't be successful, or there's a chance you won't be successful.
So it really comes down to the research that goes into it, the foresight, the quality of the actual thing you're selling.
The quality of the marketing research, the quality of the feasibility of the idea, right? Like, I know there's lots of people that would say, you know, I'd love to build, what's a good idea? Like, I'd love to build a car wash in Antigonish. Okay, so in Southern Ontario and a lot of places, there's those drive-through car washes where, you know, you get out of your car, it goes through, they have 3 or 4 or 5 people working there, it gets hand washed, the inside gets cleaned out, and it's like quick. It's like, you know, you're there maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and your car's spotless, right? And you can do subscriptions with that, right? So you get a subscription where, you know, you pay so much a month or so much a year, you can go X number of times, right? You can buy things for Christmas gifts and plans. Great idea, and, you know, you can work all those things out, but then you think about building a facility like that, you know, or to lease land to put that facility on and to operate that facility, right? So it's all that stuff. Like, I think you have a great idea, and I might have all the money in the world, but if I don't manage the idea right or manage the feasibility of the ideas properly, it's probably not going to be successful.
Fair.
Yeah.
So in the vein of management,
Yes.
I've learned recently that you're part of the hiring committee for Schwartz. And so what sort of things do you look for when it comes to hiring? How do you know a candidate is right to represent an institution like this?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and it really depends on the position, right? So I think if we were hiring, let's say, a faculty member, a tenure track, someone who, you know, we want to have a career at StFX, right? There's very careful guidelines in terms of what we're looking for based on the position. So based on where we're hiring the area, is it a marketer, but what kind of marketing? Are we looking at someone to do marketing research or more in the social media area or the AI area? Or are we looking for someone in the enterprise systems area to do more, you know, some software-based stuff, right? So one, having really clear guidelines and criteria in terms of what you're looking for. Obviously things like, you know, their education's important. Their research in terms of their publications are going to be important. In some cases, the schooling, in terms of where they went to school, could be important based on the type of research that they're actually doing. And then I think one of the most important things is their ability to teach, right? Because we're a small undergraduate institution, and we really place a high value on teaching. I'm not saying other places don't, but there are some larger institutions where maybe what's more important than being, you know, a good solid teacher is having that research program, because you're being taught by maybe TAs and other people. So we really place an emphasis on that. If it's hiring for, let's say, a tenure track, like I mentioned, we shortlist. HR usually is, or people in culture are usually involved in that process too. So they'd sit in, they vet our interview questions, they vet our interview guide to make sure it you know, it follows legal parameters. And then usually we shortlist. So for instance, we might shortlist 4 or 5 people and do video interviews with 4, 5, 6, or 7, and then take the top 2 or 3 and bring those people in for campus visits. And with a campus visit, they teach a part of the class, they do a research presentation, they meet faculty in their department. We'd have a campus tour so they get to see the campus. Yeah, so we sort of just making sure it's a good fit for them as well, right? And I think that's important because you might feel that's a great fit for them, but do they feel the same way? So it's important to see Antigonish. They get a tour of the area as well. See Antigonish, see the campus, and get a feel for what we're really about here.
Yeah, I think that fit is a really important point as well. You see that a lot with first-year students as well, where people will come here. You know, for the massive plurality of us that do find this to be the place to study, there are also quite a few that don't. So I think making sure that it's a fit for everyone is a solid principle for sure.
Yeah, and I know not every student has the ability to visit campus before they commit. But there's a lot of people that do, like, we have open houses, we have campus tours, campus visits. I'm asked to meet with a lot of prospective students that are visiting with their parents, and they want to know about the business program and maybe more specifically about marketing, right, or enterprise systems. So I'll meet with them and I'll go through, some of the things in terms of these are some of the courses. This is how your degree is kind of structured, right? And then they would have a campus tour. Someone sitting on a class even, or part of a class, and they really get a good feel for that. We do the same thing when we recruit basketball players here. Most of them come in for a visit. I'd say over 80% would do definitely some kind of visit. Get a feel, do a workout, meet with me, or if they're in, let's say, human kinetics or arts or science, I'd usually set up an appointment with a fellow colleague or a professor that they could meet with them, talk about the program they're interested in, do a campus tour, just get a feel for what it's like here. Because there's a lot of people, like Antigonish is small, but it's a very special place, as you know, right? There's people that most people that come here come from a place bigger than Antigonish, right? Even New Glasgow. So when they come from a larger center, especially, major metropolitan centers, and they come to Antigonish, it's like, okay, are you going to be comfortable here? We want you to be comfortable here.
I'm one of the rarities where this place is a lot bigger than where I came from.
Okay.
I haven't seen any pictures. I decided I wanted to go into it with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
And you're driving into town. I was like, oh my goodness, there's a Walmart here.
I've hit the big time, eh?
Yeah. It is true though. I mean, even coming in off the highway, when
Yeah.
you see these buildings, you see just how beautiful the campus is.
Yeah.
For some of us, there's definitely no looking back.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, because you said the most important thing is, can they teach? So what makes a good teacher in your eyes?
Well, there's a lot of things. I think it's their ability to relate to students, right? More than anything, right? So a lot of times when people come in, they would have taught a class or two or more, depending on where they are in their career. Some come and they've taught for years. Some have been like TAs if they're fresh out of their graduate PhD programs. But usually they have teaching evaluations, and sometimes they'll share those scores. They'll share the scores on, their ability to communicate. Some will share comments even. But then they're also asked to do a little mock teaching presentation or to teach a class in some cases, depending. Right? So they're given a topic in advance. So let's say it's it's intro to marketing. And the intro marketing class, I'd like you to do a 45-minute lecture on pricing. Okay? So they come in and they do it on pricing. And faculty would go to that and they teach literally students, our own students, right? So you look for things like, how do they relate? Are they just talking for 45 minutes? Are they engaging with the students? Are they asking questions? Are they posing questions to the students? Some will do little activities and exercises, right? You can really get a feel for the connection, because I think you would probably attest to this. I think that's really important in terms of a part of your experience here as well.
For sure. I mean, the best professors I've had are the ones that I felt like I could speak with candidly.
Yeah.
For sure. And speaking of candidly speaking, is there anything you would like to share with the students of StFX or anyone who watches the Pursuit of Motion podcast?
Not necessarily. I just think this is great. I think what you're doing at NAN's great. You've really immersed yourself into the campus and campus life, and just keep doing great things.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have impact on the culture here, for sure. Dr. Anthony, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Okay.